Hi everyone, thanks for watching. We're back with our NCAA futures. Go back and watch our NFL version and see what you think. We're going to start with winning the BCS National Championship in its last year of existence before the college playoff takes over. The favorite is the two-time defending national champion, Alabama, led by Nick Saban. The team is 5-2 favorites. They're going to look for fourth-year QB McCarron to lead them back to the promised land. He had an excellent season last year, posting 30 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Well, running back TJ Yeldon is back and is going to be the number one back in that great Alabama system behind another great recruiting class. Others to consider were our last year's only undefeated team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, now allowed to compete. That their tattoo scandal that cost them the postseason last year is over. We're heading now to the West Coast in the Pac-10, where Oregon, 9-1 favorites, looking for their new head coach to take them to the promised land. Marcus Mariota back, DeAnthony Thomas back, so they're going to have another explosive offense. The question is, can they beat Stanford and remain undefeated? Because you're going to have to be undefeated if you're not in the SEC to be in the national championship. We're going to look now to another SEC team with a shot, and that would be Georgia. Aaron Murray's in his 4th year, even though he feels like he's been there for about 6 or 7. He's nearly beat Alabama last year in the SEC championship for the trip to the BCS National Championship game. So you have to wonder, can the Dogs replace the defensive players they lost, notably Alec Ogletree in the middle and Jarvis Jones, their elite pass rusher. Some teams to consider at 20-1 are from the ACC, Clemson or Florida State. It's really going to be who wins the ACC. Can they go undefeated? Florida State's going to have a freshman QB starting. Clemson, Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins. Can that combo bring Clemson to an undefeated season? I don't like Clemson's shots, but it's an interesting play. Florida State, you have to wonder, can this team really be as good as last year after losing a bunch of guys to the NFL draft, most notably quarterback E.J. Manuel? We move now to a team that's going to have a great defense in the Big 12, and the Big 12 should have a down year, its overall talent, and that's Texas at 12-1. Texas will look for David Ash to grab hold of the starter job and not let anyone take any snaps from this year. That means you, Case McCoy. Texas defense is going to be led by Jordan Hicks in the middle, and they're going to have to make up for some of the offensive shortcomings this year and limit opponents' scoring. Texas is going to have a weaker schedule because the Big 12 will be down. No longer do you have the A&M on the schedule, but Tech is in a downswing ever since they fired Mike Leach. You have a Baylor team is their biggest competition. The Art Briles squad has always been improving since he got there. Oklahoma is a mess. Blake Bell, the man who many figured to be the starter, lost the gig, and Big Game Bob has not won many big games lately. So you have to wonder, can the Red rivalry pose many problems for Texas? And the newest conference, the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, will Louisville, behind potential #1 overall draft pick Teddy Bridgewater, be able to go undefeated and challenge a SEC team for the championship? It's a strong possibility. Who knows how good the new AAU will be? It looks to be a Louisville conference to lose, as they're the overwhelming favorites at 4-7. And now for a few long shots, why not 50-1 shot UCLA? Brett Hundley is maturing and getting better each game last year. They have a very good coach in Jim Mora and appear to be winning the battle for Southern California recruits versus USC. And we move to the Pacific Northwest for Washington, an extreme long shot. I like the Sarkisian head coaching job he's done up in the Northwest, and I like their quarterback, Prince. I think at 150-1, why not put $1 down and try to make it pay off big? Let's move now to the picks to win the conferences. We already mentioned the AAC, so we're gonna skip ahead to the ACC, starting with the favorites: Clemson 2-1, Florida State 5-2, Miami 7-2, and Virginia Tech 7-1. I don't like Logan Thomas and Virginia Tech, so you're gonna see me picking against them a bunch. Miami, it's really can Duke Johnson carry them to a title, and I don't think they can. Miami's just not the same team they were a decade ago. I like Florida State at 5-2. I think they're a better team than Clemson. I think that Clemson's relying a lot on fourth-year starter Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins, whereas Florida State has more overall talent throughout the roster, and that should make up just for having redshirt freshman Jamison Winston starting. Now to pick the division winners in the Atlantic, Clemson's a 10-11 favorite. Well, but I'm going to take Florida State being the even price. What's really the point in playing a 10-11 favorite? Let's move now to the Coastal Division, where Miami is the 8-5 favorite over Virginia Tech. I'm going to lean to Miami here. I don't like Virginia Tech. I just don't think this is a well-coached team. I think Beamer's past it. I think it's time for him to move on in Virginia Tech to look for new blood. Let's move to the Big 12, where there's really two teams to consider, in my opinion, and that's Texas at 2-1, a great defense, but can David Ash do the job? Or will Oklahoma surprise some people? I don't really like Oklahoma, and I've lost my confidence over the years in Bob Stoops' ability to come through when it really counts. And the other one, Art Briles, Baylor Bears, 12-1 favorites. Yes, they are going to their third quarterback in 3 years, but they've had great success for the last two, RG3 and Nick Florence. So I like the Bears as maybe a long shot play. Let's move now to the Big Ten. We're going to start with the divisions this time. Let's go to the leaders. The leaders division, probably the worst named division in all of sports. Well, maybe not. The NHL's Metropolitan Division is a pretty bad name too. And the leaders division is Ohio State to lose. I don't like any team in their division. I think that they're the easy play at -500. They have a lot of starters back, and there's not a lot of good teams in that conference. Yeah, Wisconsin's usually the best team in that conference, but the Brett Bielema leaving, I just don't trust Gary Anderson. So let's take Ohio State at -500. Let's move to the Legends Conference. Michigan is a 2-1 favorite, followed by Michigan State at 11-4. I'm actually going to take Michigan State. They've got a great defense, and I really think Mark D'Antoni is one of the best coaches in the country. He's always bringing a top defense to Michigan State. The question is, can Andrew Maxwell play well enough to be the conference's best quarterback? It's going to be tough, and then you have to figure out, can the Spartans replace Le'Veon Bell? Two questions that need answered, and that's what's going to determine if the Spartans are looking at a January 1st bowl game or just some other random bowl game. And the Big Ten, I'm going to take Ohio State at 5-6, though a lot of me wants to take the Spartans at 15-2. We move to the Mountain West Conference, where there really is only one team to take. That's Boise State. Even if Joe Southwick is shaky at times, you might as well just take them at 7-5. They've won it so many times that it's hard to bet against them. We'll move now to the Pac-12, starting in the Northern Division, where Oregon is the overwhelming favorite at 10-11. Stanford then at 5-2. Washington 6-1. I don't like Stanford's team. I know they're highly ranked, but I just don't think they're as good as they have been. I don't like their quarterback play. I think they're relying on a defense and strong offensive line to get most of their points. I am going to take Oregon, though I do like Washington's potential. I think that they will surprise some people, and they will be finishing with a record that many people aren't predicting. As we head to the South, Arizona is a long shot at 13-4. I don't like them. I don't like Rich Rodriguez. I don't think that either Arizona team, because Arizona State is 3-1 favorites, have a great shot at this title. I think it's UCLA's to lose, and I don't think Jim Moore is going to find a way to choke away this division. I think it'll be another trip to the title game for UCLA in the Pac-12, and I'm going to take them at 15-2. Maybe they'll come through as a long shot. And then there's the MAC, 13-10, Northern Illinois, Jordan Lynch back. You have to bet on them. they're going to be trying to be BCS busters again. And those are my predictions for the NCAA football futures.